Okay, we started last week discussing accounting modeling financial functions that are important in accounting model development, accounting and finance model development. So accordingly, these are the key areas we are going to discuss: loan amortization schedule, NPV calculations, and in IRR calculations. So first, we initiated last week discussing preparation of loan amortization schedule or loan repayment schedule. This loan amortization schedule is very familiar to you because we have studied this loan amortization schedule and you apply this concept in different subject discipline. For example, when it comes to financial accounting, when you are going to prepare a loan repayment schedule for leasing arrangement or any finance arrangement, you are usually required to prepare this loan amortization schedule. At the same time, when it comes to discuss financial management, again, this loan repayment schedule or loan amortization schedule is very popular. So accordingly, you are familiar with this concept. So I am not going to discuss what is loan repayment schedule and everything from the very beginning because you are supposed to have the prerequisite knowledge. Anyway, right, as an approach, we discussed how we prepare ordinary loan amortization schedule with your existing knowledge, how you can tackle prepare loan amortization schedule. We discussed last week. Anyway, as an approach, we'll have a look at how to prepare loan amortization schedule. The way you prepare using your original calculator or write manually how you prepare the loan amortization schedule. So let's assume simple scenario. Loan amount is 5 million and interest rate is let's say 18%. And period loan term is 5 years, and let's assume loan is repaid annual basis, right? If you know how to do it annual basis, you can convert it into monthly basis, right? So the first requirement, if you are given the loan information, only this information, loan amount and the applicable annual interest rates and the term of the loan, you should be able to compute loan installment. So for that purpose, I think you have the financial management knowledge, loan installment, how you compute. For you to compute the loan installment, you need to compute present value interest factor of an annuity. You can refer to either table or you can use your financial calculator or you can use the formula to compute this present value interest factor annuity. Loan installment always equals to loan amount divided by present value interest factor of an annuity that you have studied for your financial management. Second, we will compute the present value interest factor annuity. So what is the formula for present value interest factor annuity? That is 1 divided by 1 minus 1 over 1 plus R to the power n. The whole should be divided by R. Sampurna set R rolling again Vedano. So that is the formula for present value interest factor annuity. This should again be divided by R. So this is the formula. Second, we will compute the first present value interest factor annuity. Why we compute present value interest factor annuity? To compute the loan installment. Right? This is now we are going to prepare this loan amortization schedule without using Excel inbuilt formulas. We'll discuss later on how to use the Excel formulas to compute loan installment. Right? Just to refresh your prior knowledge, previous knowledge. we'll compute present value interest back annuity 1 minus 1 divided by 1 plus R. R is the interest rate. This one to the power number of installment, number of payments. Then this whole should be divided by again divided by R. R is this. So accordingly, percentage interest factor annuity is 3.127. So accordingly, what is the loan installment? We don't know if this is correct. We check it, right? Loan installment is equal loan amount divided by percentage interest factor annuity. So this is the annual loan installment, right? So we will prepare loan amortization schedule with this information. Now we computed loan installment. Annual loan installment should be 1,598,889. So let's prepare this schedule. So usually these are the headings for a loan amortization schedule. First column we can put the installment number. Installment number 1, number 2, number 3. It may be monthly installment or it may be annual loan installment. In this case, we assume loan is paid on annual basis, annual loan installment. So accordingly, since we have 5 years, we can go up to 5 loan installment. 5 loan installment. At the end of the loan installment, our balance, loan balance should be 0. So open loan balance, first we need to put, this is our open loan balance. It is 5 million. Then interest. This is the interest for the first period. First installment first interest payment. We are going to repay the loan end of first installment, end of year 1. So for the end of year 1, on this 5 million, they will charge interest. So interest is equal this loan amount multiplied by interest rates. So accordingly, interest rate is 900,000 for the first year. Then installment we have already computed. It is this much. So installment this much. Out of this installment, they will first recover their interest. So loan repayment will be equal to loan installment or loan repayment is installment. Again, interest cover only from the difference they will deduct their loan. So accordingly, principal payment is 698,889. So the closing balance is equal open balance minus repayment. So this is your closing loan balance. This closing loan balance will be the opening loan balance for the next period, right? So that you can compute accordingly. Like this. If we do it correctly, end of the period, balance should be 0. Yes, you can see end of the period, loan balance 0. Okay, so this is how we prepare it. If you are going to do it manual basis, manually, if you are going to do this, this is how you are going to prepare it. If you are going to repay the loan on monthly basis, then this formula should be modified. Percentage interest factor formula should be modified where all R places should be divided by 12. If it is monthly basis, that means the compounding, the number of compounding is 12. So R should be divided by 12. N should be multiplied by 12. And this R should again divided by 12. Right. So I'm going to prepare the monthly basis, right? We will now see how to prepare this loan amortization schedule using Excel inbuilt formulas. So you can see without using, if you are going to tackle this kind of scenario without using Excel inbuilt formula, you have to use some lengthy calculation like this present current interest back annuity. You need to first find out, then you divide the loan by the IFA, then you can get the loan, right? Here, under Excel inbuilt functions with the Excel functions, we have separate simple formula to compute this loan installment. So accordingly, we will discuss, see how to compute this loan installment. For this loan installment calculation, we have a function called PMT function. PMT function. With the PMT function, we can easily compute loan installment. Right. That means this column, you don't need to worry. You can easily compute with PMT function. PMT function. Then there's another function to compute this interest. For this interest computation, we have another function. It is called IPMT function. IPMT function. That's a separate function called IPM. And to compute the principal payment, there's another function. It is called principal payment, PPMT. Right. So accordingly, using IPMT function, we can prepare this column. Using PMT function, we can prepare this column. Using PPMT function, we can prepare this column so that we can easily prepare loan repayment schedule, because open balance we can take from the open balance and closing balance is the difference between open balance and the PPMT. Then the remaining two columns can be prepared without using any support from the Excel. Right. So accordingly, we will now see how to prepare this loan amortization schedule with Excel inbuilt function. So we will remove this. Okay. Right. Then first task is to how to compute interest. So your installment. For this purpose, we have PMT. Here you can see PMT function to compute installment. PPMT function to compute, to find out principal payment, that to prepare principal payment column. IPMT function to prepare interest payment column. Okay, we'll first look at PMT. PMT function calculates the payment for a loan based on constant payments and constant interest rate. That means the fixed monthly or annual or quarterly loan installment. PMT function let you to compute either monthly or quarterly or semi-annually or annual loan installment. Most of the cases, a loan installment is monthly installment practically in most of the cases. Right. Let's see the syntax or the relevant variables in this PMT function. PMT function, the relevant variables, this PMT, you need to use rate. Rate means the applicable loan, the lending rate from the company's borrower's point of view. Borrowing rate. Rate means the borrowing rate. Then NPR means the number of payments relevant for the loan or financial arrangement. Number of payment. Simply NPR means my total number of installment, maybe monthly basis or maybe annual basis, quarterly basis, right? What is the total number of installment? So NPER represents total number of installment or number of payments. PV means present value. Present value, present PV means usually present value. That is the right? The amount you borrowed today, right? Amount, the principal value or present value that you are going to borrow today. So accordingly, it is the loan or financial facility you are going to take from your finance provider. Right? So that's simply the loan you borrow. In addition, there's another variable here called FV. FV means, let's say you borrow 1 million from a bank and you agree to repay the loan by paying, let's say, 60 monthly installment. ඒක අවුරුදු 5කින් 60 monthly installment වලින් අපි මේ 1 million pay කරලා දානවා. එතකොට sometime you might be willing to have, right, up at the end of the, right, loan repayment or at the end of the loan period, your loan balance becomes zero. That is the usual case. In addition, if you want to have some balance in your loan account so that you can withdraw as a saving, this is what we call FV. That means you borrow a loan and you are not going to simply repay the loan. In addition, you are going to repay the loan. At the same time, you are going to generate a saving in your loan account. So end of the loan period, your loan will be fully settled. And in addition, you will have some saving balance you can take home. So accordingly, if you are willing to have any future value, future saving balance, end of the loan period, this is what we call FV. Then type, it is, I think you are familiar with, there are different types of cash flows. Cash flows that are occurred at the beginning, cash flows occurred at the end of the period, then cash, right? So cash flows occurred at the beginning of each period, we usually call due annuities. Cash flows occurred at the end of the period is called ordinary annuities. So accordingly, type represent whether your repayment occurs at the beginning of each period or at the end of each period. You know, like most of the loan repayment arrangement, right? Loan is repaid starting, you start your repayment end of each period. Today you borrow, your first payment will be end of, right, next month, right? So accordingly, loan repayment usually repayment again end of each period. But there are some other kind of financial arrangement or transaction where payment occurs at the beginning. For example, think about you are paying your life insurance or life assurance. So life assurance, if you take the assurance today itself you need to make your first payment. Thereafter, at the beginning of each period, අපි කවදාවත් insurance එක policy විකුණලා end එකේ අපි ගන්නෙ නෑ installment එක, policy installment එක, because the moment you write the policy, enter into the policy contract, the insurance company accept the full risk. So accordingly, insurance arrangement like a payment is paid first, then it will continue at the beginning of each next period. So there is an example for due annuity types of cash flow. So where cash flows are occurred at the beginning of each period. But in the loan arrangement, I think if your parents have borrowed any loans, you can ask, they borrowed loan on a particular day. On the same date, they don't pay the installment, right? They will keep paying installment at the end of each month, right? So accordingly, the type accordingly, you can leave zero. If you put it zero, it implies loan, the cash brokers at the end of the period. If you don't put anything under type, it means it is zero, then Excel identifies cash flow is an ordinary cash flows. Ordinary cash flows are usually expected to occur at the end of each period, right? So these are the variables. Rate එක අපි දන්නවා interest rate, NPR is the number of installment, present value is the loan amount, future value is the amount if you are going to generate or create a saving, right? Usually it is not relevant most of the cases. And type, again, you can ignore, because if you ignore it, it will take as zero. Zero means cash flow occurs, assumed to occur at the end of each period. Yes, loan repayment arrangement, installment paid at the end of each period. Okay. So we will take a simple example for pay, right, installment calculation. We'll take the same example here, right? So this is how we compute. We, we use the formula, PMT formula. You just type equal sign, then type PMT, then it appears like this. So these are the variables that we discuss here. These are the variables that we discuss here. Right. So rate is your interest rate, right? Then NPR is the number of installments. So let's assume our period is 5 years, and let's assume our interest is our loan installment are annual installment. And now 5 years order, how many loan installment? 5 installment. So we can say number of payments, so installment 5. ප්‍රසන් වැලු කියන්නේ අපේ loan amount එක. Amount you finance, amount you borrow, or financial facility you expect to arrange from your financial provider. That is this much. Then you can see these two are not important. If you don't put anything, that FV means future value. That means end of the period, you want to ensure loan is fully settled and create a saving asset. Let's say we don't need to create any savings. And type means whether the installments or repayment occurs at the beginning or at the end of the period. Right? Ordinary cash flows assumed occurs at the end. So ordinary types of cash flows, so that you can just leave it zero. No need to put zero, just leave it zero, blank. One can just zero. No need to put zero, right? Right, that's it. Then say okay. You can see installment, quickly compute. This is what we call loan installment. I think if you can remember, so this is the same installment we computed using present value interest fact annuity formula. Right. So accordingly, now we can fill, right, installment column. So we'll take other important thing lamai this loan PMT එක loan repayment එකක් නිසා installment එක repayment එකක් නිසා ඒක යාලා ඉන්න හදලා තියෙන minus figure හැටියට. So don't worry about that, right? So installment payment එකක් නිසා it is cash outflow. It generates as a negative figure, right? So we'll take our loan installment from this cell. I'll make it fixed. Right, and loan installment is constant loan installment there. Mama apply karna all column. Right. Then we need to have interest payment and principal pay. Open balance can be directly put in. My open balance means this open loan balance, right? Open balance we got. Closing balance also can also be very simply taken. Open balance, my payment කෙන නිසා මම plus දාන plus මේ payment එක, right? Principal payment අපි තාම compute කරන්නේ මෙතනින් එයි. ඒතර මේ closing balance එක තමයි පස්සේ open balance එක වෙන්නේ. තාම මේ adjust කරේ නැහැ. අපි බලමු මෙයා, right? Okay. Then we will compute now interest payment. Interest payment එකට formula එකක් තිබෙනවා මොකක්ද? IPMT. So we'll compute interest payment here equal IPMT. Right. So I'll directly explain with this 1 minute. IPMT. Interest payment. Right. Extended dialog box. Okay. Again, rate is your interest rate. Lamai, this under when it comes to compute IPMT and PPMT, it is very important all these values should be typed as absolute values. කලින් එකේ absolute relative අවශ්‍ය වෙන්නේ නැහැ. මොකද අපි එකයි compute කරේ. Here what we compute interest payment for this particular cell is going to be dragged down for the rest of the part. So drag කරද්දී formulas මේ inputs value change වෙන නිසා we want to ensure all these values for the rate, NPR, PV, all these values lamai should be entered as absolute values. That means fixed, put in dollar marks. So rate here the 18%, we need to make it fixed by pressing F4 key. Right. Then PER. Now this is a new variable. This variable was not there under PMT. You can see PMT ke PER ke liye atibunna hai. You have rate NPR, NPER, it was there. But here you have PER. Amai PER කියලා කියන්නේ period එක අපි දාන්නේ මෙන්න මෙතනින් පෙන්නනවා. Only this PER we enter as a relative figure. Very important, right? Only PER cell, leave it as a relative cell. All other cell values should be made constant, fixed, absolute values. So rate, fixed, and put in dollar marks. PER means the period which should be entered as a relative cell value. For the rest of the part, we need to make them constant or absolute or fixed values. So NPR is a number of installments, N number of payments, number of installments. And NPR can 5 number of installments. Again, we need to make it very important constant, fixed, put dollar marks, pressing F4 key. Present value කියන්නේ loan amount එක, again important, make it constant by pressing F4. Right, and future is not relevant. Let's say we don't need any savings. Say okay. Now interest is 900,000 only for this installment, only for the first installment, but you can copy it to the rest of the part like this. So interest computation is very easy. Then we have one more column to prepare. Principal payment. Principal payment the formula එක තමයි PPMT. PPMT. Right. So we'll take PPMT. PPMT, you just type, then it will appear like this. And next step, go to this dialog box. Again, see the variables. Under PPMT also, we have these variables, rate that we know, interest rate. PER, like in this IPMT, for PPMT also we have PER, period right, relative cell all other values we need to enter fixed value. So rate interest rate, make it fixed by pressing F4. Then period year 1 to period year 1 to number of years දක්වා අපි එකක් දෙනවා relative mediator and leave it relative. NPR means number of installment, 5 installment. So we give it like this and make sure you put it as an absolute value pressing F4. Present value again loan amount, make sure it is fixed F4. Then say okay. Then copy the loan repayments. Right. Now the difficult part we did interest computation or interest payment, installment payment, loan repayment. Installment taking interest cover කරලා difference එක තමයි loan එක repay වෙන්නේ. හරි. Now closing balance එක අපි දන්නවා ගන්න හැටි. කොහොමද closing balance එක ගන්නෙ? Open balance එක plus because the repayment is minus. Right, closing balance is equal open balance plus loan repayment, because this is a minus, we put that it as plus. That's it. This is your closing balance. And this closing balance can be taken as the open balance for this period. Then we can copy it to other parts. Then you can see loan is fully settled end of the term of the loan. Right. That's it. That's about loan repayment schedule. And I'm not going to teach you explain what is this, right? The interest column payment, right? I think this is the total interest payment. You can alter equal, then you can add all this interest, total interest is this much, and the installment. And this is the loan repayment. This loan repayment column total must be equal to 5 million, right? 5 million, control equal this much, 5 million. And this schedule is important. For example, this 4,301,111, this represent the closing loan liability or your financial liability at amortized cost. මේක තමයි ඔයාලගේ finance liability at the reporting date. You know, financial liabilities should be classified as current and non-current liabilities. So this is the total liability at the reporting date. This is the total liability at the reporting date. This liability should be classified as under current and non-current. So it's very easy. Out of this 4,301,111, this much considered as current, this much is considered as non-current. So that's it. Then you can tackle everything. And this is the, for example, year 1 is the finance cost, year 2 is the finance cost, year 3 is the finance cost, year 4, 5, end of year 5, these are the finance costs charged to P&L. And closing balance represents closing financial liability, and immediate following balance. Two balances represent current and non-current portion of the total liability. That's it. Right. So so we'll now work out some example given in this handout. Right. On 1st July 2019, ABC Private Limited acquired a motor vehicle under lease. Right. The following information is provided in relation to the lease. The fair value of the vehicle, this much. This is the fair value of the motor vehicle. And the down payment, even if the fair value is 5.5 million, you have paid out of your pocket 1.5 million. That is the down payment. So accordingly, the amount financed is the difference that you all know. Asset value of 5.5 million, amount you put from your equity funds 1.5 million. The balance amount financed by way of lease arrangement, it is 4 million. Right? So accordingly, that is the loan amount. So we'll take this information to our schedule, annual leasing interest rate and lease term 5 years. What is required? Calculate the value of monthly lease installed. Right. For this case, it is a monthly lease installed. Right. So we'll take this information, fair value, down payment, interest rate, and 5 years. Okay. We'll take this information here. Now, figures are columns. We'll take the fair value of the asset. It is 5.5 million. Then the down payment. Down payment, it is 1.5 million. $1.5 million. Then we can find out amount finance. Supporting amount finance. Amount finance is the difference between these two. this minus this, right? Then don't worry about these figures because automatically change because functions or formulas still work, right? We need to change this formula. Delete. Okay, then interest rate. Interest rate එක we have 20% interest rate. අපි 24 විතර ගමු මේ දවස්වල 24ට interest හම්බෙන්නේ නැහැ. 24 ගමු. Anyway, we'll take 20% because it's appeared in the handout, the material as 20%. So these are interest rate and the term of the loan, term of the lease arrangement is 5 years. Right. Right. Okay, we'll first compute payment, installment. Right. We can directly take installment value here. Right. But we'll take installment value here. How to compute installment value? PPM, not PPMT, PMT is the formula. PMT. Right. Rate. Rate is the annual interest rate. But Lamai, this time it is said you are paying your loan monthly basis. So accordingly, it is very important. This annual interest rate should be converted into monthly basis. Monthly interest rate. How it can be done? Simply by dividing this interest rate by 12 because 12 months. Right, 12 months. Then number of payments. Number of payments number of installment paid. Number of installments, how many installments? Earlier, for the 5 years, we took payment as 5 years. But this time, term of the lease is 5 years, but repayment on monthly basis. So 5 times 12, 60. So you can take NPR as this multiplied by 12. Present value means not the present value of the fair value of the asset. Present value means the amount you finance. Amount you finance. That is this. That's it. Right? So future value, if you are going to create a saving, you don't need to generate a savings type. We will leave it blank. That means it implies 0. 0 means you are telling in Excel, you are going to repay the loan at the end of each month. Yes, most of the loan arrangement, repayment occurs at the end of each month, unlike insurance policy, payment types cash flows. Right. So accordingly, this is our and monthly loan installment. Monthly loan installment. So we can take it to the monthly loan installment. Make it constant by pressing F4. Right. Now this time Lamai, how many installments? 60 installments. So you need to drag this up to 60 installment. So there will be 60 installment of 105,976 each. You need to pay 60 years, 16 installment. Right. Then we'll compute interest computation. So what is the formula? Interest payment, IPMT. Okay. First rate is 20%. I told you when it comes to compute IPMT and PPMT, it is very important to enter all the values except period. All the values must be absolute values. So rate එක B5 එකේ තියෙන්නේ ඒක absolute ගන්න ඕන F4 අපි type press කරලා and divided by, because this annual rate, make sure divided by 12. PER කියලා කියන period එක අපි first interest compute කරන්නේ first installment එකට you leave it relative, only this PER you leave it relative. NPR means this number of term or the number of years, make it constant, 4 multiplied by 12, because number of payments should be 60. Right, number of payments should be 60. Then present value is the amount you finance. It is here and make it constant, pressing function F4 key. That's it. Okay, so this is the interest for the first month. And you can see the interest payment over the 60 months period. Right, it seems it works, right? Okay, we need to prepare this column, final column. Rest of the two columns are very easy to find, right? Then principal pay, PPMT equal PPMT. Rate, our rate is annual rate. Very important, make it fixed. Pressing F4 divided by, convert it to monthly, divided by dividing 12. PER, that is period. For the first period, principal payment we compute and make it relative. Leave it as just C4 without putting dollar marks. NPR means number of payments or number of installment, 5 years and 12 months is 60. So accordingly, it is taken from this and make it constant, pressing F4, multiplied by, convert it to monthly by multiplying by 12, like this. Then present value, as usual, the amount you finance and make it constant, absolute, like this, and say okay. This is the principal payment. Value බලන්න හරියට බලන්න 66යි 39 කියන එක සීමායි හරි. Right. අපි දැන් මේක copy කරනවා next video. So right, it seems work, it is working. Right, we'll now see end of the period, it becomes 0. Okay, open loan balance lamai equal amount to finance, and closing balance equal open balance minus, because the principal payment is in minus figure, we say plus principal payment or loan repayment. This is the closing balance. This closing balance will be the opening balance for the next period. So we take it from this place. And now we can copy it to the rest of the part. Copy it to the rest of the part. See, if you did it correctly, end of the period balance should be 0. Yes, it is 0. Okay. So this is Lamai, how to prepare loan repayment schedule. Right? So you must know what is the application of this schedule, right? Interest column represent this column, for example, represent total interest payment. So these are total interest payment, 2,358,532. You borrowed 5 million, 4 million order, 2,300,000 with a peak interest given. So this all equal is the principal payment, that is exactly equal to the amount you borrow. And reporting, end of the reporting date, your financial liability can be classified end of year, not year 1, month 1. This is the loan balance, financial liability. This much is current liability, this much is non-current. Actually, at the end of the period, it is this much, right? Because 12 months the end of the period. End of the 12 months, this is the total financial liability. Out of this, you can identify how much is current, how much is non-current. Making මේ සියලුම ටික add කරපුවාම එනවා 12 months ගත්තාම එනවා current liabilities ටික මොකද monthly basis නේ. ඉතිරි මෙතන තියෙන closing balance එක එනවා non-current liability. හරි. Okay. So that's it. That's about the loan amortization schedule. Check whether there's another activity there. Yes, there's another activity. On 1st April 2019, Fedric Private Limited obtained 1 million loan at the interest rate of 18%. This loan should be repayable in 5 years equal installment. 5 years in equal installment. We don't know whether it's monthly or annual. At the end of the lease term, the Fedric Private Limited wants to have a saving of 200,000. This time they have borrowed 1 million and they want to repay this loan with an installment, a particular installment. That installment will ensure repayment of loan at the same time generating or creating additional saving of 200,000. So it is possible. I think there's a FB variable in the previous formula, so we can tackle this. We'll see how to do it. What is required? What is the requirement? Calculate the value of an annual installment. This is very easy because the annual installment, so we can just prepare 5 payments. Right. So you are required to compute the annual installment. Let's go to compute annual installment. I'll keep this in because with the monthly basis, it took some time to generate. So we will have another. Okay. We'll change everything. Right. This scenario down payment is this information is not there. Right. Okay. Amount finance 1 million. According to the given information, amount finance is 1 million. And the interest rate is 18%. 18%. And the repayable in 5 years. Amount for interest rate is 18%. Repayable in 5 years. At the same time, you need to have 12. Future saving. Expected future saving. How much you need to save? 200,000. So these are the only information. These are the only information given. Check whether again this information correct. 1 million loan, 18% rate, 5 years term, 200,000 savings, and required to compute. Calculate the annual loan installment. Okay, we'll compute annual loan installment. So we'll compute here. We'll compute here the PMT or the loan installment, or else you can compute the PMT directly here and copy it to the rest of the part. But I prefer to compute here separately. What is the PMT? Okay, formula PMT formula. Rate, this time very easy because annual interest rate is given and repayment also take place annual basis. Rate is 18%. Here you don't need to put it, worry about fixing or absolute or relative because there's no PER, only NPR, right? So rate is B5. If you wish, you can just put make it constant, no problem, right? right? So it is you can make it constant. Then number of payments. We know 5 years at the same time. We know it is annual basis. Annual basis. So it is 5 years means 5 installment. So accordingly, it is 5. This, if you want, you can make it constant, but it's not needed here. Present value is your loan, the value of your loan. I'm not going to put it constant, absolute, because not needed. Then future value. This time you have a future value. You are willing to generate a future saving balance of 200,000 and you it like this. Say okay. So this is your monthly loan installment. If you repay this monthly loan, sorry, not monthly, annual loan installment. If you repay this annual loan installment end of 5 years, loan will be right would be fully settled. In addition, you will have cash savings. The loan will be converted into saving. Loan එක ඉවර වෙලා saving එකක් generate වෙන්න පුළුවන්. හරි බලමු. So installment එක we computed easily. This is the installment. අපි fix කරලා පාත්‍රපත් කරමු. අපි how many installment? Just 5 installment. Very easy. 5 installment. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And installment at අපි දාමු easy. 5 installment. 5 annual installment. Right. Then we only need to compute interest payment and principal payment. For interest payment, we have IPMT formula equal IPMT. IPMT formula. Like rates. This time you can see IPMT and PPMT, you need to be very careful because all values should except PER should be given as absolute values. Right. Rate taker, interest rate, given annual rate, repayment takes place annual basis, so no need to divide by 12. Make sure you enter it as absolute value. PER, the period, relative period, interest computed for the year 1, up year 1 and make it relative so that you can track. NPR means number of payments. It is 5 years. Number of years 5, installment also annual basis. So 5 annual installment. Make sure it is fixed pricing F4. Your present value is your your loan amount and make it fixed pricing F4. And this is not needed because it's not highlighted, but you can put it because there's a place to enter. The future saving is this much and make it constant. Okay, right. Now, copy it to the rest of the part. Then principal payment. Actually, if you want, you can come to the principal payment by getting the difference, right? But if you ask to using the Excel inbuilt formula, you need to apply the formula. Otherwise, right? Actually, no point of getting the principal payment from the PPMT formula, because if you know the installment and the interest, right? Principal payment is simply the difference between these two. Or අපි මෙතන හදලා පෙන්නමු principal payment කියන්නේ මෙන්න installment එකට අපි plus කරමු මෙයා minus නිසා right no it is we put minus. So this is the loan repayment. Principal payment should be like this. අපි බලමු using the PPMT formula. Okay, PPMT formula. PPMT principal payment formula. PPMT formula. Okay, rate 18%, make it constant. PER, the relative period. NPR, the number of installment, and make it constant. Absolute value. Principal value. Present value of the loan, much, make it constant. And future value, you can put leave like this and make it absolute like this. Say okay. And you can copy it to rest of the part. So you can see lamai same values, right? එතකොට යම් හේකින් in case if you stuck with the PPMT formula, you just get the difference and put it. But if you ask to use the PPMT function, you must apply. Right? Anyway, you might earn some marks if you take the principal payment somehow. Right? That's it. Now we'll check what happened to the loan balance end of the period. Now what should happen? Loan should be fully settled and create the balance of how much? Closing balance at the end owner. Loan එක නැති වෙලා ඒකේ විරුද්ධ balance එකක් තියෙන්න ඕන. Closing balance එක හැටියට 200,000. අපි බලමු ඒක වේද කියලා. Right, we'll check it. Open balance එක 1 million. From here we can take this 1 million. Open balance minus principal payment is your closing balance. Because of principal payment is minus, we can say open balance plus principal payment because it's minus. This closing balance will be considered as open balance for the at the beginning of next period. Then we can copy. See here, you have minus 200,000. That is your saving. Why do you have minus balance? Minus balance. This is loan repayment sheet. This is loan. So loan balance we put as positive figures. So loan negative that means they need to pay, right? They owe to you. So that's why this is a minus, right? Loan minus it is a saving. Opposite of loan means save, right? That's it. So this is how you can prepare your loan repayment schedule. I'm going to so we can stop discussing. I mean, finish discussing first part loan repayment schedule. Next one is NPV. මෙතන පොඩි අර significance එක මම slide එකක් එන්න කරමු. Net present value calculation. Right? Net present value. Now, I don't think we are talking about, we are going to discuss about the net present value concept, right? You all are very, very familiar with this concept. We are just discussing how we could use Excel to compute NPV. Just the application of Excel, some old trade we approach to compute net present value. So don't think we are going to discuss the theory or the theoretical background regarding NPV. I'm not going to define what is NPV, right? If it's a real like physical class, I could have asked someone of you to define, right? So what is NPV? So NPV is the present value. That is the difference between the present value of all cash inflows of a business, right? Discounted using the appropriate cost of capital, representing the project risk, the present value of the whole cash inflows and the present value of cash outflows, right? Actually, net present value reflects the wealth generated by the project. Net present value reflects the wealth generated by the business project to your business. In general, wealth is the present value of future expected cash flows of a particular investment. That's the theory. We are not going to discuss that. Let's see how to compute present value, net present value using Excel inbuilt function, Excel or finance function. Right. Again, like the way we did with the loan amortization schedule, we will see how to compute NPV and NPV person without using finance function. You can remember, we prepared loan amortization schedule without using IPMT, PPMT or PMT, using our financial formulas and using Excel simple formulas, we could prepare a loan amortization schedule, right? So when it comes to compute net present value, again, we will see how to compute net present value without using the relevant financial or finance function, financial formula. Financial formula එක නැතුව අපි manual හදන approach එකට අපි let's see how to prepare, how to compute net present value. So these are the information relevant to a particular simple business project, right? Project cost of capital or weighted average cost of capital, or let's say incremental cost of capital, whatever the cost of capital applicable to project appraisal, this business project appraisal. I'm not going to discuss what types of cost of capital should be applied, whether it is overall cost of capital or whether it is project cost of capital, whether it is risk adjusted cost of capital. There are a lot of concepts. That is not our subject. But as accounting student, these are very important, right? What types of why discount rate can be applied. Usually it is said that whatever the rate we apply to discount our project cash flows should reflect its risk. I mean, we need to consider the nature of the business, nature of the risk and other factors, and your cost of capital rate should reflect those factors. So don't worry about it. Whatever the given capital rate, right, you can apply. Here it is given firms overall weighted average cost of capital 15%. Investment, initial investment, that the initial cash outlay 10 million, and future net cash flows, right? This project life is, let's assume 5 years, and end of during the project life of 3 years, you expect to generate this much of cash flows. Year 1 this much, year 2 this much, year 3 this much, right? So let's see how to prepare, how to compute net present value. It is very simple, right? You have done similar example for your advanced levels as well, right? We will have a simple form table. We'll delete this. Year 0, 1, 2, 3, just 3 years. The net cash flow, year 0 cash flow is your initial investment, that is 10 million. Then year 1 cash flow is your cash inflows, this much, and you can copy to other parts. Then these are the nominal cash flow. This cash flow should be discounted or should be multiplied by PVIF. PVIF means present value interest factor. That you are familiar with financial management, present value interest factor. So what is the PVIF formula? PVIF, present value interest factor. It is usually equal to 1 divided by 1 plus R to the power n. So this is the formula, 1 divided by 1 plus R to the power n. Right, so we'll discuss. I think we already prepared the present value interest factor table using our absolute and relative cell reference techniques, right? Okay, we will again discuss how to prepare this finance table in a different discussions as well. And probably next week we will be able to discuss how to prepare finance table in a very smart way, right? So anyway, this is the formula. Okay, we'll compute then present value interest factor. This is also called my discount factor. Discount factor. Right. How to compute equity present value interest factor? It is equal 1 divided by 1 plus R. R is given here. R is the cost of capital. Right? And we are going to copy it. So I prefer to make it fixing absolute. And to the power n. N කියලා කියන්නේ my period එක. So just refer to this to the power. Okay, you know here 0, percentage factor is always 1. Then you can copy to the rest of the part like this. Then percentage is always equal cash flow multiplied by interest factor. Cash flow multiplied by discount factor, interest factor. Then you can copy like this. Then sum එක ගන්න පුළුවන් all the equal ගන්න end කරන්න. So this is the present value. This is the present value. So accordingly, you know, right? So what is the decision criteria? I'm not right. We are not supposed to discuss, right? What is the decision rule or decision criteria for NPV and NPV method? How to accept the project or reject the project? You know, NPV method. NPV reflects the wealth generated by the project. Wealth generated by the project after securing its expected rate of return. Expected rate of return එක දීලා ඒකට වඩා අමතරව wealth එකට generate කරපු amount එක. Right. Usually, right, if the NPV, net present value, is positive, right, we recommend the project to accept. If the NPV value is negative, it means the project going to destroy your wealth instead of creating the wealth. NPV minus means existing wealth of the business is destroyed or right eroded as a result of your capital investment decision. So accordingly, decision criteria, if the NPV is negative, usually we reject because it destroys your wealth. If NPV is positive, we usually accept. If we have 2 or 3 or several projects, we mutually exclusive project. That means only one project can be accepted. Now, you accept the project having the highest positive NPV. So if the NPV is negative, reject. If the NPV is positive, accept. Then what if NPV is 0? කැමැති අකමැති එහෙමද? If the NPV is 0, ළමයි, still project should be accepted. Why? I'm not going to tell you it. You need to find out why it is accepted. Right? Or next time I'll explain. Right? NPV is 0 now. හිටියා වගේ මුකුත් නැහැ. ඒකට ඉඳන් ගෙදෙට්ලා නිකන් හිටියා නම්. Right? Because wealth is not generated. Okay, no need to postpone the concept. Lamai NPV 0 means, right, project net result is either the wealth generated was 0, but it has secured your required rate. Weighted average cost of capital from the company's point of view, from the investor's point of view, this is your required rate of return. Right? Same thing. එකම කාසි දෙපැත්ත. Company's cost of capital, investor required rate of return. So 15% in discount කරා කියලා කියන්නේ. කරාට පස්සේ බින්දුනා කියලා කියන්නේ your cash flows has ensured the required rate. Required rate දීලා තමයි 0 වෙලා තියෙන්නේ. Required rate ensure කරලා තියෙන්නේ. Right? That is why project with NPV 0 we accept because it became 0, right, after securing your required rate. If the project generate your required rate, accept it because this is your required rate. If the requirement is fulfilled, if the promise is fulfilled, you should be happy, right? That's the reason. Okay, so accordingly, you can complete the project like this. At the same time, you can you can improve this model by adding your by creating a formula to recommendation whether project should be accepted or not. So let's say recommendation. Let's say financial. I will use a financial piece or the financial recommendation. Recommendation. අපි ගමු spelling එක හොයන්න එපා. Recommendation එක. If we can say if this NPV is greater than or equal to 0. The NPV, whatever the compute NPV, if it is greater than or equal to 0, we can say accept. Accept. Otherwise, reject. That's it. Right. Okay, accordingly, in case your initial investment increase to, let's say, from 10 million to 11 million, 10 million to 11 million, what happens? NPV become minus, and you can see project your model says reject. Okay, this like this you can improve this model. I don't think right here we just explain the computation of NPV only, right? And here you can see these are additional things, right? You can improve your model using by combining the concept you already discussed, right? For example, here in right in front of this cost of capital company, if the company is going to perform simulations, right? The what if analysis or sensitivity analysis, right? You can apply some tools, right? We have discussed lot of scenarios, right? So you can apply this button in front of this ratio. So now so your weighted average cost of capital. What if weighted average cost of capital increase due to current increase in the interest rate, right? Let's say company prepare this cash flow estimation at the beginning of 2022. Again, May අවුරුද්දේ ජනවාරි තමයි හැදුවේ. Those days, bank FD rates was around 5 to 6%. FD rate 5 to 6%. January month. And by April month, it like went up to 30%. Right then, when the country's interest rate increase, the investors required rate will increase. So from 15% to interest rate, if this increase, what will happen? Right. So accordingly, I'm not going to right. If we want, you can add controls like this minimum value, let's say, and then also number is going to be less than 10 and maximum value it may be sometime even 50% is possible. Sri Lanka then did up there incremental change like 1% and relative sale like a okay. Then you know this button cannot create decimal places percentage and we make it equal this divided by 100. Right now, අපි මෙයාත් දැන් original 10 million not game. Okay. Now let's assume if the interest rate increase, see what happens here, right? See what happens here. We can easily perform sensitivity analysis, right? This is the initially expected it goes right very well. Right? So accordingly, you can apply this regime some additional tools so that easily you can manipulate and see what happens to your project. Right? Even for these values, you can apply some modifications and checking what if, right, initial investment increase, what if initial investment decreases. You can perform vertical. We'll do the similar analysis later under different chapter, different topics. Okay, anyway, this is the way we compute the NPV using, okay, so far we discussed the traditional approach, right? Let's see how to compute NPV using Excel inbuilt functions. Excel functions පාවිච්චි කරලා අපි කොහොමද compute කරන්න කියලා අපි බලමු. Okay, for the same project, we'll compute using Excel NPV formula. Let's have a look at the PPT PowerPoint slides. Net present value calculation with the finance function. NPV with regular cash. NPV calculations, there are two NPV calculation functions. There are two formulas to compute net present value. One is called NPV, other one is called XNPV. May NPV converter XNPV, but here we are going to discuss just NPV. This NPV formula, right, lets you to compute the net present value for a project with regular cash. What is meant by regular cash? Regular cash flows means it is assumed all the cash flows are occurred at the end of each period. Right? Regular cash flow, most of your examples or your cases you have already tackled or faced for different contexts, right? Almost all the cases, your cash flows were regular cash. Right? I'm not going to talk about the conventional and non-conventional cash flows, right? That is different thing. Conventional and non-conventional means the different thing. I'm not going to talk about that. This is a regular cash flow means cash flows under regular cash flows. It is assumed all cash flows are occur at the end of each period. For example, let's say we are in 2022. Let's say 2022. Today is 15th November. Let's say we received 1 million for our project. This 1 million, today is November 15th. Under regular cash flow assumption, we assume this 1 million we received at the end of this year, that is on 31st December 2022. It's an assumption under regular cash flow method. It is assumed throughout the period, all the cash flows we received, we assume they were occurred at the end of the period. Right? So according that is the most of the cases, it is assumed cash flows occurred at the end. It is a weakness, right? Because in times of Sri Lankan these days, time value is very crucial. Right? Cash flow, the value of the 100 rupee that you received somewhere in the January is totally different that of the 100 rupee that you receive today. Right? At the same time, the rupee that you have today is definitely more valuable than the rupee that you are going to take after 1 month's time, because right, time value is very crucial these days in our country, because risk-free rate is how much? 30%. Risk-free rate take a 30%. All of that now risk-free rate take they need to compensate the time value. Right? So accordingly, the real life, sometime you uh, may not be in a position to go with regular cash flows. We'll tackle them later. Let's consider the familiar cash flows, that is the cash flows occurred at the end of each period. Like most of the similar cases, you have discussed for your prior subjects or courses. Right. So these are the syntax. Right. මේ formula එකේ තියෙන variables දෙකයි rate එක දෙන්න ඕන and values. Right. Here rate is the discount rate or cost of capital, right? Then here you have value 1, value 2. There are, right, you can go up to 254 arguments, but most of the cases we will just apply one value, uh, the same. I mean the one value is enough for our NPV calculation most of the cases. Okay, we'll see this application of this syntax. What is the formula? Equal NPV, right? So this is the NPV used in our traditional method. Traditional method with NPV we compute. This is the traditional NPV. We will now compute NPV using Excel in the function equal NPV. Very simple. Click on this. Take the dialog box. You just need to show the rate. Rate is your interest rate. This much. Value, right? Let's put value means, right? You need to show the value range. This is the value range, right? This time, this is not going to work, but I'll show you, right? So you can, let's show all the cash flows like this. That's it. And say, okay. You can see it is 350,778. It is not equal. That means something went wrong. Yes, I knew something, right? There's a problem. Problem, Talamai. So when it comes to show this, we are 100% sure about this one because, right, everything is clear, right? Discount effect correct and everything is correct. So we are okay with this because we are familiar with this calculation. We know this NPV is correct. Check whether discount rate, yeah, 18% to the power correct, right? So this is correct. So accordingly, this is wrong. That means this, right? Traditional approach says 413,980. Our NPV formula approach says a big difference, 350,000. Yes, this is the reason. This is the limitation of this formula, NPV formula. When it comes to show the cash flows, you should show the cash flows excluding initial investment. Initial investment like a network, you need to show the rest of the cash flows. Because Excel record, if you put initial investment as well to the cash flows, it recognizes it, right? It occurred at the end. So it will bring to the present value. It is already there in the present form. So accordingly, when it comes to show the values, show the cash flows excluding the year zero cash flow. Year zero cash flow had a unit cash flow. Take a pen. How it did it? Discount rate, okay. Then under values, show except year zero, show other cash. Then separately, look at this address bar. Separately, you can link initial investment to this formula. But not this in this dialog box. Here, come here. In this address bar, the function, this bar here, you can now incorporate your initial investment plus initial investment, because investment is in negative figure, we can plus this 10 million, then press enter. Here we have check again. NPV come here. Rate is 18%. Value. We put the present values, right? Values are here. Values are here, right? That's the mistake, right? These are the values. Show these values. Then come come here, and now you combine your initial outflow plus initial outflow. Now you can see exactly the same answer. So that's how NPV is computed using, right, finance function. Show the cash flows, show the discount rate, give the discount rate or the project cost of capital or whatever the cost of capital, discount rate. Then show the cash flows excluding initial outflow, and then combine, take the initial outflows to the formula here, to the formula. Then it computes NP very quickly. Right. Okay, we will have a look at any activity. Yes. Here's a simple activity. The following information is given for an investment. Initial cost 10 million, discount rate 15%, 3,000, 4,200, 6,800. I don't know if it's the same answer. Almost similar one. I don't need to discuss it again. Anyway, we'll take it. We'll take this information. Initial investments 10 million. Is the inputs. Initial investment, then discount rate, then future cash flows. So what are the information? 10 million and 15%. Here we have 10 million. And discount rate is 15%. Future cash flows, $3,000, 4,200, and 6,800. 3,000, 4,200, and 6,800. Check it is correct. Yes. Okay. Then NPV. Just compute NPV. NPV equals NPV so the rate values excluding initial investment come here, incorporate. This time initial investment is positive figure, is up a minus this. Okay, so this is your NPV. This is your NPV. I'm sure that you can compute, right? You can compute present value interest factor. Present value interest factor is equal 1 divided by 1 plus 1 plus R here to the power Amortization to the power 1, 2, 3. So this is the discount factor. We can copy it to the rest of the part. We can make it constant. So these are discount factors. These are the cash flow. So here we can take the present value. Present value is equal to this multiplied by this. And initial cash outflow is directly equal to this. And then we can add the total. You can see same answer. Like that's it, right? Okay, now you know how to compute NPV. Using Excel function. Next, NPV with irregular cash. So irregular cash actively in a business environment or economy like in Sri Lanka these days, it is not advisable to assume cash flows are regular, right? Because if you assume cash flows, all cash flows are occurred at the end of the period, it can January month ke cash flows at December month ke cash flows. You know, Lamai, if the time value is very crucial, you cannot add last year cash flows with this year cash flows. If time value is very crucial, you can't add January month sale with the April month sale. You can't add July month cash flows with December month cash flows. Even 6 month difference you can't add because time value is very crucial. Sri Lankan content it is very crucial. So you might instead think, consider the cash flows on the day they generate. That is irregular cash flow, right? You consider exact cash flow, exact date on which the cash flows are generated. Then we cannot assume cash flows are occurred like at the end of this year. Each year represents end of each year. 1 represents end of year 1. 0 represents right now. 1 represents end of year 1. 2 represents end of year 2. 3 represents end of year 3. If someone says beginning of year 2, now you should put it under year 1, not year 2. Beginning of year 2, now you should put that cash flow under year 1 because beginning of year 1, beginning of year 2 means end of year 1. Right. So accordingly, though you are very familiar with this regular cash flow type NPV calculations, sometime when it comes to real world, your business, your top management might ask you to work out cash flows based on the exact day they generate because of time value is very crucial these days, right? So present value column was taken. Yeah, mistake Thanks, right? Take up anyway, thanks for your concern. Right. So we'll see NP with irregular cash flows, and this approach it is assuming cash flows, right? Of course, we take the cash flows as they generate on the exact date. Right. There you cannot apply Lamai usual NPV formula. right? We compute NPV, but not using NPV formula. Instead, we have XNPV formula, right? We are going to compute net present value, but not using NPV formula. Instead, by using this XNPV formula. There's a different formula called XNPV. Okay. So these are the syntax. So these are the variables you have. Rate Tegatina, as usual, it is the cost of capital or discount rate, reflect the project risk and the required rate of investors. Then the values, right, are the cash flows. And it is very important. You can see here dates should be provided. The date on which the cash flows were occurred. So accordingly, this is important, right? Because this is a new concept, right? Actually, without using Excel, you can work out even with your ordinary finance calculator, but it takes time. But with this Excel formula, you can very conveniently compute NP for projects with irregular cash flow. We'll discuss with an example. Okay, so these are the information available. We'll directly take this to our calculation schedule. We'll take summary here. And we will take, I think I have already taken. So these are the information that I given. We'll check by how many cash flows, 5 cash flows, 1 outflow, 4 inflows, date January. Yes, January, 1 outflow, 4 inflows. Yeah. So I have already taken this figure so we can save our time. And discount rate taker or the cost of capital is 10%. So what is required? Find the net present value of the investment. Right. Find the net present value of the investment. Okay, these are the inputs. Let's say this is the date on which the cash flows occur. This is the net cash flows. And this is your for the cost of capital. For the cost of capital. Right. Okay, let's see how to compute. We use XNPV. XNPV. Show the rate 10%. Values Lamai this time. It is very easy because no need to differentiate your initial outflows and the other cash flows. All the cash flows can be shown, can be given. Because we give the date, so Excel can recognize, right? With the dates, Excel can easily recognize what is the initial investment and what are the other cash flows. So accordingly, this with XNPV approach, all the cash flows can be directly given like this value. Then dates, you should give the corresponding date like this. Very simple. That's it. So this is the NPV. You can see it is very easy. Right? If you are going to tackle this scenario with your ordinary approach, traditional approach, the approach that you are familiar, it takes time. Right? If you wish, I can work out, but I think it takes time. Anyway, I will compute it. We'll see how to compute our present value calculation using this kind of scenario. It is difficult because, cash flows are very irregular. Right? 1 plus r to the power n ගන්න ළමයි n එක 0 1 2 3 නෙවෙයි n එක කෑලි කෑලි එන්නේ නේ. Yeah, for example, this one is 0. No problem. That is 1. What about this one? This one, March 2020, March 1st, 2021. So how many years? It is not exactly, you need to bring this to present, right? If it is 1 year, you can simply 1 plus r, 1 divided by 1 plus r to the power just 1. But this time, 1 plus 1 divided by 1 plus r is very easy, to the power, how many years? Is it 1 year? No. Is it 1.1? No. It is 1 year plus 2 months. March first කියලා කියන්නේ months දෙකයි ගිහින් තියෙන්නේ. ජනවාරි and February ගිහින් තියෙන්නේ. එතකොට months දෙක මාස දෙක අවුරුදු වලට කන්වර්ට් කරන්න. So මාස දෙක බෙදෙන්න ඕන කීයද? 12න් බෙදලා අවුරුද්දයි මාස දෙක බෙදීම 12 තමයි අපි to the power එකට ගන්න. Right? එහෙමනම් අපි හදමු පොඩි ඩිෆරන්ස් එකක් තියෙයි. ඒකට හේතුවක් තියෙනවා. අපි if you want we can compute, right? We check it. Right. Cash flows තියෙනවා. Original cash flows. We need to multiply with the PVI actually. We need to multiply this with present value interest factor. Like our usual formula. Right. Now, present interest factor කොහොමද ගන්න ළමයි? Equal again to reflect you know it 1 divided by 1 plus r to the power n. N is in terms of years, right? Not monthly basis. Monthly basis දාන්න බෑ හරි. 12න් බෙදලා monthly basis දාන්න බෑ. මෙතන අපි equal line කරන්න තම බිඳුවේ, right? So this is the formula that you know, right? 1 divided by 1 plus r power n. Right. Now the problem for this, it is at the beginning point of time, the beginning, this is where project is started from. Present value interest factor is 1. 1. Then for this, now this cash flow should be brought to 1st January. Made March 1st page cash flow 2021 වල March 1st page එක ගේන්න ඕන 2020 වල ජනවාරි කොච්චර අදන් ඉන්න ඕනද මාස අවුරුදුකුත් මාස දෙකක් අදන් ඉන්න ඕන. ඒක අවුරුද්දෙන් මාස දෙක කියන එක ළමයි අපි මෙතන දෙන්න ඕන ෆෝමියුලා එකට in terms of years. එතකොට අපි හොයාගමු මේකට අවුරුද්දයි මාස දෙක කියන එක number of years වලින් වෙනම calculation එකක් ගමු. අවුරුද්දයි මාස දෙක කියන්නේ 1 year plus 2 months divided by 12. ඇයි 2 months කියලා කියන්නේ March 1st කියලා කියන්නේ March වල මුල මාස දෙකක් පහු වෙලා. ඒ කියන්නේ අදන් ඉන්න ඕන මාස 14ක් පස්සේ අදන් ඉන්න. ඒ කියන්නේ අවුරුද්දයි මාස දෙකක්. අවුරුද්දයි මාස දෙකක් කියන එක ෆෝමියුලා එකට දෙන්න ඕනේ n වලින් years වල. එහෙනම් මාස අවුරුදු බවට පත් කරන්න පහවසල ගණිතේ පාවිච්චි කරන්න පුළුවන් මාස ගාන 12න් බෙදලා. right. එහෙනම් අපි පෝස් කරනවා. මෙන්න years ගාන. මේ period එක අවුරුද්දයි මාස දෙක කියන එක number of years වලින් 1.16667. right. ඒ වගේම මෙයාටත් ගන්න. මෙයාත් ගේන්න ඕන බිඳුවට. කොච්චර කාලයක් අදන් ඉන්න ඕනද? right. ජනවාරි 20 ජනවාරි වලට ගේන්න. මෙතන කොච්චර කාල ගිහින් තියෙනවද? How many months lapse? It is 1 year and 30th October කියලා කියනමයි ඔක්තෝබර් month එකේ අවසාන. November December විතරයි ඉස්සෙල්ල තියෙන්නේ. එහෙනම් 1 year and 10 months. එහෙනම් මෙයාට අපි දාමු 1 year plus 10 months divided by 12. This is the number of years for this. And for the this cash flow equal 2022 February. ඒතර අපිට ගේන්න තියෙන ළමයා අවුරුදු දෙකක් අදන් ඉන්න. 2022 ජනවාරි වුණා නම් 2022 2020 ජනවාරි දක්වා 2 years. දැන් මෙතන 2022 ජනවාරි නෙවෙයි ෆෙබ්‍රුවරි. එහෙනම් අවුරුදු දෙකකුත් එක මාසයක්. එහෙනම් 2 years plus 1 month කියන්නේ 12 එක. 1 month. This much of years. This one 2022 ජනවාරි නම් අවුරුදු දෙකයි ඒප්‍රිල් 1 කියලා කියන්නේ මාස දෙකයි තුනක් ඉවරයි. අප්‍රේල් මාසේ ගණන් ගන්න බෑ. පස්සට ගන්න. එතකොට how many months lapse in January, February, March. එහෙනම් 2 years and 3 months. 2.3යි කියලා කියන්නේ 4 එක 2.25ක් වගේ බලමු. equal 2 years plus 3 months. 2.25. Yeah. Okay, now we can apply. So what is the discount factor? How to compute discount factor? This is the formula. Here 0 cut 1. This one equal 1 divided by 1 plus R here. We can make it constant. To the power mean the power equals to the power n. N we have computed here. Enter. Okay. Now we can drag to the rest of the part like this. ළමයි මේකේ ආන්සර් එකේ පොඩි ඩිෆරන්ස් එකක් එනවා. කල්ලාතු කියලා තියෙන්නේ. ඒක රීසන් නැත්නම් අපි දැන් බලමු. මේ ඩිස්කවුන්ට් ෆැක්ටර් එකෙන් වැඩි කරලා PVIF here we can say present value, not the present net present value. Net present value is that sum, right? Equal this multiplied by this. There will be a slight difference. අපි බලමු alt equal ගාලා alt එක ගමු. You can see there's a slight difference. 913,820. Here 913,153. ඒකට රීසන් එක තමයි අපි මෙතන කන්වර්ට් කරේ අවුරුදු වලට මාස වලින් බෙදලා එක්සෙල් කන්වර්ට් කරන්නේ මේ dates වලින් බෙදලා. ඒ නිසා මාස දෙකයකින් අපි ගන්න 2/12. මෙයාලා ගන්න මාස දෙකකින් උට මාස දෙකේ dates ගන්න 3/5 බෙදලා ඒ ඩිෆරන්ස් එක නිසා තමයි මේක චේන්ජ් එකක් එන්නේ. ඒ ගැන worry වෙන්න එපා. Anyway, this is not the way we compare. Because it takes time. It takes time, and it wastes your time and effort and energy, cost, everything. So no need to go like this. I just proved, right? Anyway, so you don't have any doubt, right? This same answer, but you can see this is very, very simple. With Excel, it is very simple. Right? Again, how we did it? Equal. Type XNPV, then it appears. Click on this, go to this dialog box, show the rate like this, show the values, all the values, unlike the just NPV, and show the dates like this. Within few seconds, it computed. This is your NPV. That is for irregular cash flows, right? So accordingly, in case if you are working organization, your entity or your manager request you to perform NPV calculation based on the exact date, considering the exact date only the cash flows generated, you can get the support of Excel. Then, right, internal rate of return, the next one. Internal rate of return or IRR. What is meant by internal rate of return? Don't say it is the discount rate at which NPV becomes 0, right? Okay, that we know. So what is internal rate of return? Technically, it is the rate at which NPV becomes zero. ළමයි internal rate of return කියලා කියන්නේ project එකේ yield එක. Right? That is important. Right? Technically, it is the discount rate NPV becomes zero that we know. But in substance, internal rate of return එකක් කියලා කියන්නේ ඒ investment එකේ overall yield rate එක. Overall yield rate. Overall return rate. Right, that is internal rate of return. Okay, we'll see how to compute internal rate of return. There are different approaches to compute internal rate of return according to traditional conventional approach. I am not going to compute internal rate of return using traditional method, right? You know, using extrapolation method or using graphical approach, formula approach, you can compute internal rate of return. You can compute two NPVs at two different interest rate. Ideally, one NPV is positive and the other NPV is negative. And you can use the formula lower discount rate plus the difference between discount rate, right? Multiplied by this NPV at lower discount rate divided by the difference between the discount rate formula. I'm not going to talk about it because it is not mine. It is beyond my scope because you already studied those concepts. There are different approaches to compute internal rate of return. You have trial and error method. You have extrapolation method. You have graphical approach. ග්‍රාෆයක් හදලා positive NPV එකයි negative NPV එකයි ඇඳ ගාම right horizontal axis එක කැපෙන තැන තමයි internal rate of return. ඒවා වල study කරලා ඇති finance වලදී right. අපි බලමු how to compute internal rate of return using Excel. It is very simple, right? So this is the syntax. You just want to show, you just need to show the cash flow. Just show the cash flow. It quickly compute the internal rate of return. Right. So according to the values given, net cash flows, including the initial outflows. IRR uses the order of cash flows printed with the right. The cash flow values means the cash flow order. Simply values in the cash flows. The guess it is not needed, right? It will compute. Once you show the cash flows, it will automatically compute the IRR for your convenience, right? We'll compute IRR for this previous scenario, okay? Let's consider this scenario. These are the cash flows. We'll compute IRR. Simple. How to compute IRR? IRR. Click on this board function. Show the values like this. That's all. Say okay. This is IRR. 20%. If you want more decimal, this is IRR. So what is your decision? ළමයි project එකේ yield එක 20%, investor required rate එක 18%. Investors required rate එක 18% with the project එක දෙනවා 20%. So this investor will definitely be happy about this project because investor required rate එක 18%, project එක දෙනවා 20%. So it has exceeded or passed your threshold level. Now you are very happy because all හැම විටම අපි මේ capitalist society එකේ අපි හැම විටම උත්සාහ කරන්නේ මොනවාද? Satisfaction එක maximize කරන්න. Consumer to maximize satisfaction. This supplier to maximize the profit. Investor to maximize the wealth or return. So accordingly, they are happy. Required rate 18% and the yield rate එක 20% නම් අපි project එක accept කරනවා. එහෙනම් අපි මෙතන decision rule එකක් දැම්මොත් if this particular rate of return, if it is greater than or equal to the discount rate or required rate. Required rate is සමානවත් happy. වැඩිුණොත් වඩා happy. ඒකයි කියන්නේ. If this is the case, say accept. Otherwise, you reject. You can see project is accept. All right. Then that's it. Okay. Again, I'm not going to explain this one single thing, right? You can just take the cash flows and show the cash flows. It will automatically compute, and you can write down division rule like this, and we'll take this initial cash flow, make it 11 million minus. Then you can see required rate 18%, internal rate about 15%. Project is rejected, right? This work, okay. Then the last point, how to compute IR for projects with irregular cash flows. Irregular cash flows, how to compute IRR. How to compute IRR. Okay. So this is the syntax. For NPV, irregular cash flows XNPV. For IRR, irregular cash flows XIRR. Same thing. Earlier we had values and guesses. We don't guess. No need to guess. Values ටික තියෙනවා. In addition, ඔයාලා දන්නවා irregular උනොත් dates ටික වැඩ කරනවා. Cash flows ටිකයි corresponding dates ටිකයි තියෙන්නේ. පිළිවෙලට තියෙනත් උනේ. Right. අපි එහෙම right. So accordingly, අපි මේ activity කියනවා. the last activity case study වලට මම දෙන්නම් පස්සේ කරන්න. Activity 4 එක තියෙනවා. Calculate the IRR for the cash flows given in the activity number 2. Okay, activity number 2 එකට අපි ගත්ත cash flows ඇති. I can dates එක තිබෙන right the cash flows. හරි. අපි මේ තියෙන cash flows activity number කලින් activity එකේ. So we'll compute IRR. අපි දන්නවා IRR අනිවාර්යෙන් මොකක්ද දෙන්න ඕනේ. Here the since NPV is positive, IRR must be greater than 10% for sure. හරි. බලමු how to compute this NPV. NPV, it is positive. Then you compute. Next we compute IRR. IRR or internal rate of return. Since project is having irregular cash flow, say XIRR. Values, these are the values. Simple. And date, these are the dates. That's it. Say okay. So you can see required rate 10, project 15%. So that's why it creates wealth this much. අවශ්‍යකට වඩා වැඩිපුර return එකක් දෙනවා. Right? So accordingly, this is how IRR is computed for projects having irregular cash flows. මෙතන අවශ්‍ය නම් ඔයාලට බලන්න පුළුවන් Lease IRR නේ. අපි දන්නවා IRR එහෙමනම් IRR එකෙන් ඩිස්කවුන්ට් කරපුවා NPV 0 වෙනවා. ඉතින් අපිට ඕන මෙතෙන්ට ඉක්වල් කරලා මේ IRR ගන්න පුළුවන් නේද? දැක්කද? 15 දැනුගම NPV 0 වෙනවා. ඒ කියන්නේ මේක IRR බව ෂුවර්. පැහැදිලි කරගන්න දෙන්න. IRR එක project cost of capital equal කරපුවාම ඒකෙන් ඩිස්කවුන්ට් වෙලා කලින් ගත්ත ෆෝමියුලා කියන්නේ NPV 0. right? ඒක තේරුම්වත් ගන්න තේරුම් නැත්නම් ගෙදර ගිහින් පස්සේ බලන්න. හරි. Okay, that's it lamai. This is what we can discuss for the day. The theoretical part එක පැහැදිලි කරා. Next week එකේ මේ ඉතිරි activity එක මම පැහැදිලි කරන්න discuss කරන්න. Then we can move on to our next topic, right? That is sensitivity analysis. මම හිතන අපි ඉගෙන තියෙන sensitivity analysis. ඒක අපිට පටන් පුළුවන් next week එකේ. I will take about 15 minutes to discuss this one. Actually, this is all about preparing cash flow estimate, right? This is basically preparing cash flow estimate. We did several exams or activities like this. Can you remember at the very beginning we prepared profit forecast, cash flow forecast. Using this information, you can prepare cash flow forecast, and finally apply the techniques we use to compute NPV and IRR. That's it. And write the formulas to recommend the project like this. That's it. That's the requirement. Accordingly, activity no need to explain by myself. Why? Similar activities we have discussed for cash flow estimation, profit estimation. අපි හදුවා. අන්තිමට cash flow එක ගත්තාට පස්සේ NPV IRR calculation එක you can tackle with this knowledge. Okay. I think I missed one small concept. Don't know where is it. Here. මෙන්න මේකේ second part එක තමයි. මේක මිස්ුණානේ. මේ කලින් අර NPV calculation එකේ you are required to compute NPV, what is the nature of the cash flow, irregular cash flow එකක් තියෙද්දි හිතන්න මෙහෙම management එක estimate එකක් හදලා forecast කරලා NPV calculate කරලා තියෙන වෙලාව right, due to unexpected or due to the nature of this uncertainty in the business environment, let's say we later got to know additional cash outflows there. Cash flow අපි හැදුවට පස්සේ මෙන්න අපි investment ඒ cash flow එක මෙන්න cash flow එකට අපි NPV compute කරලා තියෙන්නේ. estimate එක හැදුවට පස්සේ අපිට අහුණා තවත් outflow එකක් තියෙනවා. outflow එකක් පුළුවන් inflow එකක් පුළුවන්, right? We just with the new emerging situations, or with the new knowledge or new experience or new information, we have now been able to recognize additional cash outflow that we forgot to recognize at the initial estimation. එතකොට මේ ගාන කියනවා in addition to above cash flows මේවට අමතර if cash outlay of 500,000 is required on 10th May 2020. දැන් මාරවලින් මෙහෙම අපි estimate එක හැදුවට පස්සේ අපි NPV IRR calculate කරලා project gas recommend කරලා හරියම තියනවා කියලා හිතමුකෝ. Later on we identify another cash flow එකක් අපිට කියලා දාන්න. මතක තබන්න ළමයි, if there's any additional cash flow, if you are going to incorporate any additional cash flow, may it be positive or negative, don't worry. It is very simple. You can simply incorporate that additional cash flows, right, based on exact date. Put that cash flow on the right place in the right order. මොකද කියන්නේ අපි මේ cash flow එක අලුතෙන් ඇවිල්ලා තිබෙනවා කීයක්ද 500,000 outlay, that is minus 500,000, that is okay, but date is important. It is 10th May 2020. 10th May 2020 නම් you cannot put here. It is very important. You cannot put it here. Make අපි month එකකින් දාන්නේ month එක දාලා 10 දාලා ඊට පස්සේ 20 20 මෙහෙම දැම්මොත් මෙහෙම ෆෝමැට් කරනවා. මේ විදිහට දාලා මෙතන 500,000 minus දාලා ගාන හදන්න බෑ. එහෙම හදන්න බෑ. හරි? ඇයි ඒ? cash flows මේ Excel identify කරන්නේ ඒකේ order එකට. එහෙනම් definitely මෙයා match වෙන තැනට ගිහින් දාන්න ඕන. 2020 වල ඉන්නේ මේ කියලා කියන්නේ 2020 ජනවාරි වලට පස්සේ 2021 වල මාර්ච් වල කලින්. එහෙමනම් අපිට මෙතෙන්ටයි එන්න කරන්න අවශ්‍ය වෙන්නේ. So we need to enter it here. හරි අපිට සිද්ධ වෙන එක මෙතෙන්ද identify කරා. එහෙනම් අපි දාමු මේ කියන්නේ month එක first type කරන්න ඕන. month May 10th කවද්ද 2020 month එක දාන්න. cash flows එක 500 මේකත් මෙතන මොකක්ද? මේක අවශ්‍ය නැහැ. ඔයාලා දීමු දැම්මොත් cash flow එක -5 -5 අලා බලන්න දැම්ම ගාම automatically NPV adjust. right කලින් තිබුණ 900,000 ගාන අය කම්පියුට් කරන්න අවශ්‍ය නැහැ. right ඔයාලා ගිහලා මේ schedule එක ඇතුළට දැම්ම ගමන්ම පිටර දැම්මොත් තමයි set වෙන්නේ නැහැ. මේක ඇතුළට cash flow එකක් enter කරපුවාම එයා date එක recognize කරලා cash flow එකේ inflow ද outflow ද recognize කරලා automatically NPV එක adjust කරගන්නවා. හරි මෙයා නැති වුණා නම් නැති වුණා මොකද වෙන්නේ? මෙන්න තත්ත්වය. මේක තමයි තිබුණු තත්ත්වය. හැබැයි අපි end කරාට පස්සේ එයා automatically adjust කරගත්තා NPV. So it is very convenient. Right? So accordingly, once you prepare, estimate the cash flows, and once you prepare the NPV and IRR later on with some new information, new prediction, new business environment, if you are going to change your cash flows, right, it is still convenient to maintain your model. Just incorporate carefully to the right place in the cash flow estimate. Okay, now that's it. We will wind up the session for the day. And this, I request you to tackle this, do this as an activity. Next week, I'll take about 10 to 15 minutes to discuss this. Thereafter, we can move on to our next topic. I think sensitivity analysis. Thereafter, we look up and one more topic. I think we can manage within the remaining time. Okay, so thank you very much and good night.